Why is my ex not texting me back? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video. But first, my name is Clay with ModernLove.life, where we help you get the great loving relationship that you're looking for without having to play mind games, without having to play hard to get, and without having to pretend to be someone or something that you are not, because you deserve to be loved for the unique, amazing, and wonderful person that you are. And if you agree with me, do me a favor by giving this video a thumbs up and by subscribing to this channel if you're new here. Also, just so you know, we do have a new training course called Connect and Commit. It works great for texting. It helps you to navigate through these make or break moments with your ex. I'm not going to do the hard sell for it here, but if you're interested in learning more about it, you can check out a link to it down in the description box below. I'm also going to pin a comment telling you more about where you can find information on that. But if you're interested in checking it out, go ahead and check it out. If it's not for you, no big deal. Let's go ahead and get into this. Why is your ex not texting you back? Now, of course, there are all sorts of practical reasons, like, hey, maybe their phone was lost, or maybe they're dealing with some sort of personal emergency or something like that, right? All of those things aside, those things do happen. Absolutely, they do happen. I hear clients tell me about these sorts of things all the time, and they get themselves worked up, and it turns out, they're just dealing with some kind of personal emergency of some sort. But all of those things aside, your ex is probably not texting you back because of an emotional reason beneath the surface. There's some sort of emotion that's blocking their urge to connect with you. Obviously, they care about you, right? Obviously, they care about you. Obviously, the two of you have your history of good times that you shared together. Otherwise, you would have never been in a relationship. But there's also something that's blocking that urge to connect. And obviously, the two of you did go through a breakup, so maybe it's related to that. Maybe it's related to something that you said or did, or something that they think that you said or did, or something that you didn't say or do, or any of those things, right? If there's anything like that they're holding on to some sort of grudge or holding on to some sort of hard feelings towards, that could absolutely be a reason why they might not be texting you back. And you need to address it. You need to address this directly. Oftentimes what people will do is they will try to just normalize the situation. After they have a fight or something like that, they'll just try and slip back into normal, everyday conversation and hope that their ex kind of follows suit. And okay, sometimes that can work, but most of the time it's not going to work. And you have to actually acknowledge what happened. You have to acknowledge that there was some kind of disagreement. There were some hurt feelings. There were some things that were said that probably shouldn't have been said, or whatever the case may be. You have to be willing to directly address it. If you're not able to directly address it, then it's just going to create this barrier, this emotional barrier that's going to block the two of you from actually talking to one another. And of course, it can manifest itself as your ex not replying to your messages. So in which case, you may just need to directly message them or call them or talk to them or however you communicate, and just let them know, like, okay, I know I probably hurt your feelings, and go ahead and get into it. We have like the whole fresh start message that you can go ahead and send them for this particular purpose. But whether or not you use that, or you just kind of figure it out on your own or whatever, you want to directly address this so that you can clear that channel of communication, and so the two of you can start talking and communicating again. Okay? So that's the first reason. The second reason that your ex may not want to reply to your messages, or may not be replying to your messages, is because they might be thinking a little bit too relationship focused themselves. Maybe they think that if they're interacting with you, it's either all or nothing. Either the two of you are getting back together, or you're going to be nothing at all. And that puts a lot of pressure on them. It really does. So, if you're kind of giving them this impression by maybe demanding that they make a decision, or demanding that the two of you get back together or something, then that's something to think about there. But this kind of pressure is not going to inspire them to really make any moves, because honestly, they probably don't feel emotionally ready or prepared to make a decision about getting back together with you right now. And so what they're going to do is they're going to stay in a place of indecision. And when people stay in a place of indecision, they generally tend to not make any moves. And so if they're broken up with you, they're probably going to stay broken up with you. If they're not talking to you, they're probably going to stay not talking to you, and all of these sorts of things. Until they get enough of an emotional context to help them to make a new choice. Either they're connecting better with you, they're enjoying better, stronger connections with you, they're able to, put aside the past and be able to actually focus on bonding and all of that stuff. Or, maybe something else happens. Maybe they find out something else that causes them to pull away from you in some other way. Maybe the two of you keep having poor interactions and it causes them to pull away. That can happen too. So you're kind of stuck in a seeming catch-22. You're not really, but it kind of seems that way from first glance. Because on one hand, they're not interacting with you because they need more emotional input to interact with you in order to actually choose to connect with you more. But because they're not interacting with you, it's hard to get more emotional input into them to actually help them to enjoy spending time with you. So what you want to do to break this catch-22 here is to create a gray zone between this black and white spectrum that they're probably thinking of. They're probably thinking like, okay, either we have to get back together or be nothing at all. And so there's this actually a gray zone in between that where it's like, okay, we can be confused. We can take things slow. We can not try and force anything that's not there. We can not rush things. We can be friends for now, things like that. And if you're willing to create this gray zone, then it's going to allow your ex to focus more on connecting with you in the present moment. And that's actually what you want to do, right? Because if your ex is not engaging with you or thinking in the present moment, it means they're probably thinking about the future. Would it be a bad idea to get back together? I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if it's going to turn out like it was before, or thinking about the past. Is it going to be as bad as it was before? Are we going to have those same fights that we used to have? Or are we going to have the emotional coldness that we used to have, or whatever the case may be? Or they could be stuck on judging you or judging themselves, or any combination of these things. And what we want to do is by creating that gray zone, we're actually pulling their focus and attention back to the present moment. So we want to create this gray zone of just saying like, hey, it's okay to not know. It's okay to just enjoy interacting with me for now, for us to just enjoy interacting with one another for now, and to see where this takes us. Let's not force anything that's not there. But at the same time, I miss you. I spent a good chunk of my life with you, and I have a hard time just kind of walking away from that. So let's just enjoy being with one another, and let's not force anything that's not there. Is that something that you can agree to? Or something along those lines. That can really help. So we have, obviously, ways that you can go ahead and do that, ways that you can go ahead and kind of refocus your ex's attention on the present moment as well, too. Another reason, I kind of briefly mentioned this earlier, but another reason is because you might be kind of stuck in that black or white, like either we're getting back together or nothing at all kind of thought process too. And oftentimes if you're stuck in that black or white thought process, it can definitely spill over onto them and cause them to think kind of along those lines as well too. So if there's any part of you that is hung up on like trying to rush to define the relationship or rush to make sure that the two of you aren't in the friend zone, which we've talked about like a million times. I'm not going to go into it here, but you don't have to worry about it. Then you could be kind of contributing to that dynamic as well too. So you need to learn how to be okay with that gray zone. You need to learn how to create that gray zone and be emotionally okay with living in it yourself. And as you do that, you're kind of inviting them to open up, inviting them to refocus their attention on the present moment, and also inviting you, and you're allowing yourself to refocus your attention on the present moment too. Because the more you stop worrying about where this is going and how it's all going to add up and how it's going to shake out at the end, and the more you actually just focus on enjoying spending time with one another, weirdly enough, the better your interactions are going to get, and the more you're going to likely get back together down the road. Because you're actually able to create interactions that feel good in the present moment. So that's what I'd recommend that you focus on if your ex is not responding to you. It's clearing away those emotional blocks and to create those gray zones that both of you can really start to live in so that you can give yourself permission to create positive interactions in the present moment. Once again, if you like what we're doing here, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel. You may want to think about heading down below and checking out that link to the Connect and Commit training course that we put together. It covers a lot of the topics that we talked about in this video. So once again, that is down below. You might want to check that out, or at least think about it. But if nothing else, thanks for watching this video. You may want to check out this series on texting your ex as well, or you might want to check out this video over here. But thank you so much. Once again, my name is Clay, and I will talk to you in the next video. Take care.